I'm in the ACMI gallery. I'm looking down at some really cool shadow puppets. I'll turn you around and you can have a look. Maybe try, shadow play. Maybe you can have a look and try some at home. That one at the top, the squirrel one. Have a go at some of those and let me know how you get on. Some of them don't seem that likely to be plausible to me, but who knows, let me know. Will and I tend to stick to the art galleries and the museum, but I thought I'd come to the ACMI, which is the Museum of Art, the moving image, film and moving image, for a bit of a change. Ever wondered what one of these looks like running backwards? I can make that happen for you. How cool is that pigeon landing? Look how slopey to the back it is. Things you can see in slow-mo. What do you think of my line of dialogue?
But with some fava beans, nice Chianti. Spew into this. Hello. My neighbors.
I actually remember this game in console form, Street Fighter. If you don't know me, I am hopelessly terrible at video games. Infinitely capable of killing myself. That's a blast from the past. So here we are for the main reason why we're here, for the Mahler concert. Obviously I won't film it, but I've got a bit there of the concert hall and I'll catch up with you at some point soon.
People, professional diners and professional concert goers, wore a generation ago.
It's a beautiful morning and we are officially now in spring, although quite a large wad of winter here also feels like spring because quite a lot of the spring flowering bulbs like to stick their head out. I'm heading down there to have a quick look at the Gunnera. The leaves, last year's leaves, seem to have dried up and mostly withered off, which is what I would expect. It is, I believe, a member or very similar to the rhubarb family, and that's what you would expect. But what I can see, and what I hope you can also see, are lots and lots of lovely new and emerging leaves coming up all over the place. So it is still the early days when you consider this plant grows absolutely gigantic in theory, but that's promising. It didn't drown from being flooded for a portion of this winter. Keep your fingers crossed for that. There's one or two other bits and pieces I'd like to show you. A nice little bit of spring cheer, especially for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere who are heading into autumn winter. I will add that that is my favourite time of year, so it doesn't really bother me, but nevertheless there's no denying the days are about to get very short and very cold. So for those of you who don't enjoy that, here are some pretty flowers. Morning. As you might be able to tell from my appearance, I've started my morning already, and I've been using my chainsaw to clear some of the plants away from the last section of the perimeter as part of my getting ready for summer project. So I've worked all the way around the house and I've got one section left to do. I've chainsawed out the bigger plants and some of the smaller trees that I want to get rid of, and now what I'm going to do is head down to the potting shed in front of me, and I'm going to pick up my strimmer with the grass cutting blade on it, because there's a little bit of tea tree, and I'm going to take that out, and then that'll be that job complete. And then I'm going to finish off this morning by raking around the lawn in front of the house and surrounding the house to get rid of the leaves that are within the fence line. And then as the month progresses, I'm going to work my way around the perimeter again and around the house to remove the leaves at the other side of the fence. And then I'll have one final bonfire, and that'll be that job done. I just maybe need to keep a bit on top of it as summer progresses, if any sort of big winds bulk dump a load of leaves. And this is all just in terms of making sure there's not so much material around the house to cause any particular problem should a fire come through this spring, summer, early autumn. So for a bit of context, the house is this way. That's the wood store, the drive, and I've done up to this footpath here, and I've just been working this last little section. I've taken out a few bits and pieces, not all of that, some of that's from bringing down the wood and other bits and bobs. But essentially just a little bit of tea tree, one or two trees, just trying to keep this distance from the house relatively open and clear. I'm going to get my strimmer now because it's just a little bit of tea tree which is starting to emerge there, which I just like to keep on top of. But the other bits and pieces I will leave. this really is the demarcation line. This is my, was it 40-50 meters that I'm allowed to have clear around the house. So long as I'm on top of that, I'm pretty happy. But just beyond that, I don't want it to get too out of control. So that's my plan for this morning on this project. Nothing makes the job go by more pleasantly than the arches on in the background. So if you can hear it, that's what it is. But here's my piles of leaves, the accumulated years debris of all these deciduous plants, and actually some of the evergreens, obviously, they also do drop leaves. Quite a lot. I'm going to scrape it all up now, put it on the bonfire, that's my morning done. We've started work on Operation Replacing the Oven. Phase 1, I've given this butcher's block a bit of a sand and a polish. The rest of it I'm going to paint, but for the time being we're just going to keep it as it is. I might pick up the paint later in the week. Phase 2, now that we've removed the oven, is underneath the oven was this hole which had mesh on it. I guess part of the gas safety, I don't know. Some sort of ventilation hole. Vita is currently in the hole under the house. Can you hear me? She's not replying. She's obviously on her adventures. Anyway, not to worry, because there's also this much bigger hole, so Vita will come out eventually. But what we're going to do now is fill this hole. We had to do something very similar here. You possibly can't even see, but there was another vent in this wall, and when we were decorating the kitchen, we'll patch that hole up. I think if I go the other side, you can see it behind the door. There we go. So it looked like that. We'll patch it up. What I'm going to do is try and give this discoloured floorboards a bit of a clean. It might be very tricky. And then once that's done, I will try to stain it so it matches. And we'll move that into situ. And as I say, I'm going to paint it. So it won't be finished, but it'll give a good idea of what it will look like when it is.